What percentage of U.S. Muslims believe that Sharia law should be implemented in the United States?
So I'm not aware of survey data on that specific question. However,
I can tell you it's 39%. 39% of Muslims in the United States want Sharia law implemented in the next 20 years.
All right, guys, you just saw that snippet of Representative Brandon Gill. We are diving into a heavy one today. Look, we talk a lot about religious freedom in this country, but there is a massive difference between practicing a faith and implementing a legal system that is fundamentally designed to dismantle everything our founders built. What you are about to see is Brandon Gill doing what very few people in Washington have the guts to do. He is bringing the receipts. He is not just talking in platitudes. He is looking at the data, the funding, and the actual ideology of Sharia law. My take: it is about time we have watched Europe, especially England and Sweden, basically sleepwalk into a cultural crisis because they were too afraid of being called names to stand up for their own laws. We cannot let that happen here. Sharia law is not just a religious code, it is a political system that by its very nature rejects the equality of women, rejects the freedom of speech, and puts a religious hierarchy above the U.S. Constitution. Let us watch the full hearing and see how the experts try to dodge Brandon Gill questions. This is going to be intense. Let us go.
The subcommittee for the opportunity to address these important issues. George Washington wrote that America was founded in part to create an asylum for the poor and oppressed of all nations and religions. Thomas Jefferson, among others, made clear that American religious freedom is supposed to extend to Muslims no less than to Christians, Jews, and others. George Washington and Jefferson, they were right, whereas the proposed Preserving a Sharia-Free America Act is wrong.
With you, Mr. Soman, can you tell me what percentage of U.S. Muslims believe that Sharia law should be implemented in the United States?
So I'm not aware of survey data on that specific question. However,
I can tell you it's 39%. 39% of Muslims in the United States want Sharia law implemented in the next 20 years. Do you know what percentage of Muslims in the United States support the formation of a Muslim political party?
Again, I'm not familiar with survey data on that particular question.
The number is 46%. Do a couple more. Do you know what percentage of Muslims in the United States support making it illegal to show a picture of the cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad?
So as with the other questions, a lot depends on the wording and the sample, and I would want to see the details
50%,
of the methodology here.
That's a lot. Let's do one more. Do you know what percentage of Muslims in the United States believe that Islam should be declared as our national religion?
Once again, I would want to look at the methodology of the survey, the question.
33%. This is from a survey conducted by the Heritage Foundation in 2024. In September of 2024, it was published on October 6th, 2024. I got two more for you. Do you know what percentage of American Muslims believe that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish homeland?
I don't know that one either, but if it's from a survey by the Heritage Foundation,
it's 43%. You're happy, you can declare that statistics you don't like aren't true, but that's not how I'm going to operate here. We got one more. Do you know what percentage of Muslims in the United States say that Jewish people have too much power in government policy?
Once again, I would refer you back to my previous answer.
57%. Do those facts concern you?
I would want to see the nature of the survey, and I would also know the Heritage Foundation.
I'm just asking if those statistics concern you.
If they were accurate, they would be a matter of concern, but I would want to see.
They are accurate, and I think that they are a matter of concern, and I think most Americans agree with me there. Mr. Spencer, I'm going to move on to you. Let me ask you, is Islam as a political ideology, in your opinion, compatible with America's constitutional governing framework?
Oh, no, certainly not. It denies the freedom of speech, denies the equality of rights of non-Muslims with Muslims, the equality of rights of women with men, and contradicts U.S. law in numerous other particulars.
And can you tell me, what is the goal of political Islam?
Well, Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, said, Islam must dominate and not be dominated. And in every Sharia state that is on earth today and has ever been on earth, non-Muslims have not had equality of rights with Muslims in the society. The idea is to enforce a subservient position for them so that they know the pain in this world as well as the next of having rejected Muhammad, which the Quran says that they will suffer.
Under Islamic law, as it's commonly practiced, are men and women treated with equal dignity?
No, certainly not. I quoted before the passage about women beating women from whom you fear disobedience. The Quran contains nothing about beating disobedient men.
Ms. Child, I've got a few questions for you. Can you explain to us very, very briefly, what is Epic City?
Oh, yes.
Do you mind turning your microphone on?
Yeah, so to understand how Sharia relates to Epic City, you don't have to look any further than Imam Yasser Qadi of Epic. He's the chairman of the Fiqh Council on North America, the group that tells Muslims in the U.S. how to apply Sharia.
Mm-hmm. And do you know who's funding Epic City?
Yes, just one moment. I have some information on funding. And when you ask where the money and infrastructure for Epic City are coming from, when Epic City was first marketed, they actively solicited investors, including foreign investors. So that fundraising model is now under serious legal scrutiny with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. He sued East Plano Islamic Center, its development arm, Community Capital Partners, alleging violations of Texas security laws and how funds were raised and managed. And this isn't isolated.
Thank you. Speaking about this is an issue that I hear all the time from my constituents in North Texas who are concerned about the rise of radical Islam in Texas. And I want to thank the witnesses for being here as well. You know, there's a fundamental truth that I think we've got to recognize, which is that not all cultures are created equal, and they are not all equally compatible with America's governing framework. Yeah. The reality is that radical Islam as a political ideology has a very different conception of freedom of speech than we have in the United States, a very different conception of freedom of religion, of separation of church and state, or of mosque and state. Islam as a political ideology is inherently imperialistic, and we see that now, unfortunately, all over the Western world.
Now, please listen.
It is a game changer. We need somebody like Mamdani to be the mayor of New York. And that is a victory for the ummah. I'm jumping the gun here, but this is one of the narrow-mindedness that need to break here. And if you don't understand this, then honestly, you need to rethink through your understanding of civilizational strength. Our biggest weakness is our percentage in this country. We are very disadvantaged. By the way, this is only in this country because across the Western world, mashallah, tabarakallah, percentages are rising to the point of it's terrifying them. Sweden, 10% Muslim. Oslo, Norway, 10% Muslim. Oslo, of all places. Vienna, the Ottoman Turks tried 200 years, they couldn't do anything. Vienna is 10% Muslim, mashallah, tabarakallah. 10% Muslim. England, London, it is estimated 20%. I was in Australia a year and a half ago. Australia, Sydney, there are districts the size of maybe half of Austin that are 60% Muslim.
They can be as mad as they want. I don't care. America will be a Muslim country. Russia will be a Muslim country. Islam will enter every house, inshallah.
All right.
But we have to be a part of that change. We have to be a part of that da'wah. We have to be a part of those ghuraba who stand firm on our aqeedah and our practice and our deen and never ever apologize. We're unapologetic. Never ever compromise. We're uncompromising.
Wow, just wow, did you see the look on Professor Sman face? Brandon Gill is hitting him with 2024 Heritage Foundation data, real numbers from our own soil, and Sman just keeps falling back on, I am not familiar with that survey. How can you be a legal expert testifying on this issue and not know that nearly 40% of US Muslims surveyed want Sharia implemented in the next 2 decades, or that over half support, making it illegal to show a cartoon of a religious figure? That is not religious freedom. Folks, that is a direct assault on the First Amendment in America. We do not jail people for cartoons, and we do not let religious law dictate what we can and cannot say. And let us talk about Robert Spencer testimony. He nailed it. He pointed out the absolute no-go zone for Sharia, the treatment of women and non-believers. Under Sharia, you do not have equal protection. Under the law, you have a hierarchy that is 100% incompatible with the 14th Amendment. You cannot claim to love the Constitution while inviting in a system that explicitly denies the equality of rights for everyone. Then we get to the Epic City situation with Ms. Shield. This is the part that should keep you up at night. Foreign funding secret investors, and a radical imam like Yasser Qadi leading the charge. Did you hear those clips of Qadi? He is literally bragging about the victory for the Ummah as European cities hit 10% and 20% Muslim populations. He is not talking about integration, he is talking about domination. He said it out loud. America will be a Muslim country. This is why Brandon Gill is a hero in my book. He is looking at the unapologetic and uncompromising stance of these radicals and saying, not here, not on my watch. Look, we are a nation of laws. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Period. Sharia law is imperialistic. It wants to be the only law. If we allow even a soft version of it to take root in our courts or our communities, we are essentially signing the death warrant for the American experiment. Brandon Gill is right. Not all cultures are created equal. A culture that values individual liberty and the separation of church and state is objectively superior to one that demands subservience and punishes dissent with violence. We need to stop apologizing for wanting to keep America American. If you want Sharia, there are plenty of countries that have it, and look how they are doing. We are staying free. What do you guys think? Is Brandon Gill being provocative, or is he just telling the truth that everyone else is too scared to say? Drop a comment below. I want to hear from the real patriots on this one. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this before the censors decide this truth is too much for the internet. Peace.